You're going to enjoy this one because in this video I'm about to attempt to run up a mountain wearing a pair of robot legs, and yes, you did hear that correctly, it's not clickbait, and this is a pair of robot legs that could make my life a lot easier or a lot harder. And of course, the real name for a device like this is an exoskeleton, which, if you're a sci-fi fan, a movie fan, might make you think of this. Or more classically, perhaps this.
Stop the confounded thing! Rummy day!
This is the DNSYS X1 exoskeleton. It weighs less than 2 1-litre bottles of water and uses small but incredibly powerful motors to assist your upper leg, to assist your hip joint. It feels like it's lifting your leg up, and it feels like it's pressing it down to give you extra power. Believe it or not, this compact device has the effect of making you feel that you're 38 kilograms lighter when you're walking or running. And when you're running, this can assist you at a flat out sprint of up to 17 miles per hour. Just for comparison, that is 4 miles per hour faster than an elite level marathon runner. And as well as the advanced motor technology that's in here, it also uses AI algorithms to figure out what you're doing and how to deliver the power and the best way to deliver it to mean that you can run further, faster, hike further, faster, and do all of that without putting as much strain on your hip joint. It's a little bit like an electric bike for your legs. Those are the claims, but I wanted to test them for myself. So in this video, I'm going to be trying to run up a mountain. I'm going to try and run as fast as I can wearing these. And I'm also going to stick them on my friends to see what their reaction is. But first of all, let me show you how you actually put these on, and then we'll go run up that mountain. Right, let me show you how you put these on. You push this button at the back, adjusts the back length, bring out the arms, open up the Velcro, and then you put it on around your waist. Basically like a belt. You want it to be nice and tight, and then you check to make sure the motors are kind of roughly in line with your hip joint, because that's the need to pivot. Bring the arms around, pull these little clips up, that gives you more stretch on the loops there. Bring those down, wrap that onto your leg, push that in, clicks into place, twist it. That tightens it. Do the same with the other side. That's it on. Make sure your range of motion is fine and it's not uncomfortable. Now, this is a prototype. The final production model will be slightly different when it comes to the battery, but the battery clips on the front there. Then I take this cable, spin around, and click it in there. And then to switch it on, I press and hold this button. So there's 2 modes in this. You'll notice this light is blue to start with. If I double tap this, it turns green. I'll explain what that is later. We'll go back to blue. Then to calibrate it, I double tap the power button behind me. I can feel it doing something on my legs. It's just making sure it's tight enough. And that is it now active. And I can start to hear the motor. And then I can push this button to increase the power. And now I can feel it. Okay, let's go and try running up this mountain.
It's quite difficult to describe just exactly what it's like wearing these, trying to run up a mountain, because it's not that the effort is suddenly gone or that you suddenly feel incredibly light, but it's more that your legs feel like they're having some kind of extra assistance. In some ways, it's quite similar to an electric bike where you still have to pedal, you still have to put effort in, but suddenly everything is a little bit easier than it was before. It would be quite similar to the feeling you get when you use poles to run or poles to hike. Just your arms take a bit of that weight and it takes it off your legs. It'd be similar to that.
Okay, it's time to reveal the other mode that these have, and this is what really could expand the potential usefulness of this device, because if I double tap this button here, this light switches to green. These are now in resistance mode, and in resistance mode, they resist me. The motors change from giving me power to taking power from me. When I move my legs, when I push up, I am pushing against it. It's as if there's somebody pressing down on my leg as I try and lift up. And This is good for two reasons. One, you'll burn more calories, and two, if you're a performance athlete, if you go and do speed training, and they tested this with professional athletes, after training in this resistance mode, their speed increased. It's kind of like if you ever go to the beach and you try to run through the sea, if you do that a lot, it will increase your performance. This does it without water. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go, oh yeah, and there's one other cool thing it does, and I'll explain that when I get back up, but I'm gonna go down there and try to run back up with this in resistance mode. Oh, come on! Oh! Whoa! Oh, it's like there's somebody pushing down on my knees, or I'm crying. Oh. And resistance mode, it literally does take energy from you. The motors turn into generators, and when I move, they take my energy, convert it into electricity, and it provides a bit of a trickle charge back to the battery. It's not a huge amount, but it will extend the battery life slightly. Okay, I'm gonna try a flat out sprint in the highest resistance mode. I'm gonna run uphill that way and I'll turn and run back downhill. So this is it, resisting me as much as possible, and then I'll switch it to full assistance mode and see what the distance is. Oh, that's weird. That is really weird. I can feel that in my hips. It's like my hips were getting tired, but the rest of my legs weren't, because they weren't being resisted in the same way. But now I want to try a flat out sprint with this in full assistance. Whoa! That is insane. It felt like I was clinging onto the back of a rope tied to a motorbike and being dragged along. That test was a lot of fun, but it wasn't the most scientific. So the next day I went to a forest, measured out 125 meters and ran it 3 times. Once without the exoskeleton, once with the exoskeleton with full assistance, and once with the exoskeleton with full resistance. Right, okay, so without the exoskeleton, I did that distance 27 seconds. In resistance mode, it pretty much took me 30 seconds. And then with full assistance on the exoskeleton, I ran that in just over 22 seconds. I was 5 seconds faster with the exoskeleton. That's a lot more than I was expecting.
And you were a lot less out of breath.
And I was less out of breath, yeah. And I felt a lot more out of breath when I had the exoskeleton on in resistance mode, so that's interesting. Okay, I've slowed down a bit. What I've realized is you sort of have to match the speed of the exoskeleton to how fast you want to run. Like currently I have it on the highest power setting, but my legs aren't really moving fast enough to compensate. For it to probably work, I'd have to go up to about this speed, and now that feels quite natural. So this is me just casually walking now. It's so weird, I'm going uphill, but it feels like I'm walking on a flat. I feel almost a little bit like I'm a puppet on a string. You know, that there's somebody above me kind of going like this and lifting my legs up. Every time, I've met quite a few people while I've been out, and every single person I've met, I've asked them what they think of my robot trousers or my robot legs, and then I explain to them what they are. What do you think of my robot legs?
What's going on there?
The reactions so far have all been positive. People have immediately latched onto a use case for them. The first person I bumped into, without me telling them anything about these, they said, "Oh, are those for training?" So he immediately assumed that they'd be good for you know, improving your athletic performance, which was interesting. I was talking to a lady in her 60s, and she said, "Oh, it's like an electric bike. That would be great for older people who can't hike in the hills just as much as they used to." So people are instantly getting what these could be good for, which I was not expecting. Here's another unexpected observation. I've been out now wearing these for about 3.5 hours, and I honestly thought I would be getting really uncomfortable by now, but I'm not. The only part of me that's maybe a bit uncomfortable is my bare legs where the straps are attached. And to be honest, that's because probably you should be wearing these with longer shorts that come down, you know, beneath the straps. And I can feel maybe a slight bit of pressure around like the waist area where the belt is, but it's not really, it'd be similar to the pressure I would have if I'm carrying a backpack with like a thick waist strap for a long period of time. It'd be similar to that. That covers up quite well, actually. How noticeable is that? You tell me. Do I still have, oh wow. And I've got like full range of motion. The jacket doesn't seem to be interfering with it. Works with the coat. So a really good question we probably should ask is, who exactly is this for? And maybe you already have some ideas, and we're going to discuss that. But just before we do, I'm going to stick them on a few of my friends and see what their reactions are.
That's cool. Oh, here we go. My goodness. These are cool. Don't really feel as if you're running uphill. You know, you feel as if they're doing the work for you. Your legs just happen to be moving as well.
Oh. Like it's a bit more effortless, but not completely effortless.
Oh wow. I'm gonna fall over.
It's like I'm underwater right now. I can't do it.
Feels as if you're in water in the swimming pool. I can see where if you were wearing these on that setting, that it would definitely be beneficial in terms of boosting your fitness because you're fighting against something. Like rugby players would put the packs on and trail them behind them, yeah.
Some of these rusty bits of metal came from machines that at some point in time would have been the pinnacle of technology, the most innovative option out there. People would have looked at them when they first appeared with suspicion perhaps, or with concern, but they proved their use, they became adopted, and today we don't even question the benefit of such machines. And if I'm honest, when I first heard about the DNSYS X1 exoskeleton, my initial gut reaction was, that's really cool, but is it just a novelty? I'm not actually sure who's going to benefit from that. But I started to feel a lot more differently when I actually tried them for myself. And I began to feel even more differently when I spoke to other people and asked them what they thought about this technology. There are two distinct categories of people who I think could benefit from this technology. And the first is athletes who could use this to aid their training and aid their recovery. And the second category is a much wider category, and that is ordinary, everyday people who could benefit from this in the following ways. Going out hiking with people who are a lot fitter than you is a miserable experience, and there are some people who will avoid it altogether because they just know they're going to have a miserable time trying to keep up with their fitter friends. So perhaps something like this exoskeleton could help close that gap. A little bit like how I use my e-bike to help me go out and actually enjoy bike rides with my cycling obsessed friends. And then you've got people who are maybe older or have mild mobility issues, or maybe just have concerns about future possible joint issues. The DNSYS X1 in theory could help these people hike easier, further, longer, with possibly even less pain and less wear and tear on their joints. And that was actually the scenario most suggested to me by people I got talking to while I was out testing these. But what about the limitations of technology like this? And I've thought of a few, and I guess the first one is the price, because the recommended retail price of this exoskeleton is going to be $1,000, which is a lot of money. Although if you think about it in terms of what the technology is, it is arguably affordable in some ways. I mean, it's cheaper than a mid-ranged e-bike, and when this launches in Kickstarter, which is happening on this date, you'll be able to buy a pair of these for $500, so half price. As I mentioned before, this will not turn you into a superhero. If you cannot currently run up a mountain, you will not be able to do so wearing these. They simply take what you can currently do and allow you to do easier and with less strain on your joints. It also won't work on really, really steep hills once you go above a certain angle. If you try to go up something that's a bit too high, like this, and overextend your leg, it automatically switches off the safety mechanism, so it means that you couldn't use this for proper climbing or scrambling. If you use it in the lower power modes, the battery life is pretty good, but the fact is if you're out all day or you use it in one of the higher power settings, at some point your battery is going to run out, and then you have an extra 2 kilos of weight to walk back with. Now, I've walked about 2 miles with this completely switched off, and it's actually not too bad. You don't really feel the weight that much, at least walking a couple of miles. So it's one of those things you'll probably want to do shorter distance practice hikes with, just to see how much range you get out of it, and then plan your longer trips accordingly or have spare batteries. Then we have the question of comfort, and personally I've worn this continuously for about 4 hours and it was fine, although I wonder how it would feel if I was wearing it for 10, 15 hours. It's not something I've tested yet, but I just wonder what that would feel like. And while it can be used with quite a lot of backpacks, including ones that do have waist straps, I wonder what it'd be like with a really, really big pack, a 70-litre pack, where you've got like a really massive, wide waist strap that could be quite tight and add in a lot of pressure to it. I feel like that might end up uncomfortable over a really long period of time. Although then I question, if you're the sort of person who's going to be out hiking with an incredibly heavy backpack, is this something you're going to be using anyway? So I guess my question for you is, what do you see as being the use for this technology? Is this something you'd use, or is it something you could see the benefits for somebody else? And what does amaze me is that this is just the first generation of this technology widely available, and it's pretty small, light and compact already. I'm imagining in the future we're going to have versions of this that will extend down the leg, maybe assist the knee, maybe assist the ankle. Maybe in 5-10 years time these things will be able to help you do superhuman feats of strength, endurance or speed. Maybe we'll have somebody sprinting up Mount Everest in 30 minutes wearing an exoskeleton, or maybe there's waterproof versions that let you swim at 50 miles an hour. Who knows? But no matter what happens in the future, I think it's pretty exciting to be here at the start. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.